Hello everyone, once again welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Reviving Destinies. Here we revive destinies. So into this video I'm going to talk about different types of enemies actually. Remember in a video I did long time ago, I want to make a video about different types of friendship. Today I'm going to speak about different types of enemies. Actually it will be a very interesting topic. I'm going to speak about 6 categories of enemies. So I think that will help you into evaluating your journey of life actually. That's what I'm going to analyze actually. So the first group of enemies, we have good enemies actually. So I'm sure that you'll be surprised and shocked to hear that combination. You will even think is a paradox to say somebody is a good enemy, because how can that happen? So good enemies are enemies actually which they have observed something, they have dislike actually in you for they have some agendas because of some reasons which is known by them only. They might have like reasons which they can be either good or bad, which they makes them to hate you actually. But what they do is they choose to cut you off actually. They don't stay with you and become part of you while they are against you. They choose to distance themselves from you actually. They don't like you, but they don't want to be part of you. Most of the time are people actually who compete themselves with you and who compare themselves with you, and they start to think you are better than them. So the moment that they start to think you are better than them, they think your presence actually make them feel small actually. And as their presence makes them to feel small, they don't want to be in the presence of the person which they think is better, because it makes them feel like they are nothing and you are great. Then they choose to distance themselves from you actually, and they don't want to hear anything actually about you. Those type of people, most of the time they don't even talk bad about you in your absence. It's just that they don't approve you, they are not like, they don't want you in their own circle actually. Those are good enemies actually. Enemies actually which are very good actually. Those type of people actually, those are like the type of people whom I prefer. Remember, it's not always the case that the opposite of a friend is an enemy. It's not always the case. Somebody can be cannot be your friend, but at the same time cannot be your enemy. So a person can be a person whom is just a random person. It's not your friend, and at the same time it's not your enemy. It's just a person whom you know. So that's how it is. Things actually they are in equilibrium actually. So that's how it is. So the second type of enemies, we have parasitic enemies. Parasites actually. You know what is a parasite actually? Parasite is a living organism, if you did biology, which live only inside a host. So itself it cannot live actually. So parasitic enemies, I describe them as parasitic enemies. Me, I don't read any books actually which makes me to bring this context actually. I just discover those things actually in the journey of my life actually. It's just that life teaches me certain things, then I just observe them and arrange them actually. So that's what I pray. That's why there's no way where you can say I'm referencing. So that's why there is no book actually which you can pick up those things actually which I'm speaking, other than when I'm preaching, but not when I'm preaching actually, not when I'm speaking the message of Jesus Christ, but when I'm just speaking general things, I just speak actually things actually. So as I've observed them. So parasitic enemies are enemies which they don't like you, they are against you actually, they have a strong hatred against you, but they don't want to distance themselves from you actually. They are part of you because they want a certain things actually in you actually. They want to benefit actually in you, and as they benefit they harm you actually. They are inside you, they don't benefit mutually, they harm you as they benefit. So those are the parasites actually. They are enemies of, they want to benefit, but at the same time they don't like you and they are causing harm actually in your own life. So those are very dangerous enemies which you have to be careful of and cut them off, actually, because they will cause a very serious harm in your life, trust me. So another type of enemies, the third enemy, we have chameleons, actually. So the chameleons, actually, they don't differ much with the parasites, but chameleons, actually, they have their own character and agenda in your life. Those are the type of people also which they don't disagree, they don't disagree with you, actually. They don't cut you off, but they stick in your life. But they love you conditionally, actually. They are your friends other time, then another time they are your enemies, actually. So they changes. You know, a living organism called chameleon, it changes its color. So the same as those type of people, actually. They change, actually. They change. They depend, actually, on their moods. Some other time they like you, some other time they don't like you. So when they are with certain people, they don't like you, they speak bad about you. But when they are with people who speak good about you, they speak good about you. When they are with you, they smile with you. But they actually they are the enemies, actually, which they are too dependent, actually. So, and those are type of enemies which are very, very dangerous, actually. So that's how it is. So the fourth enemies, we have giraffes, actually. You know that animal called giraffe, the one with a long neck, actually. So giraffe, the characteristic of giraffe goes like that. A giraffe can be in the Macolas family, but eat a tree of next door. So those are the type of enemies. I call them giraffes because they are with you, but at the same time they stick with people who don't like you, and at the same time they agree with people who don't like you at the same time, actually. So that's how it is, actually. Those are the type of enemies which they are with you, then they hear, actually, and at the same time they are with people who don't like you. So when they are with you, they act as if they love you. Then they hear every update about your life. They make sure that they pick up information about your life. Then those type of information, since they have a long neck, they take it to their neighbors. They take that information to your enemies. They go to update your enemies, actually, about your life. If you say you want to buy a car, if you say you have some source of income, you have some source of hustle, they take that information and go to update. They use that advantage, actually, of long neck to update your real enemies. And as they update those real enemies, them they got benefits, actually. So those are those type of enemies which I refer them as giraffes, actually. They use their long necks, actually, to get things. They are there at the same time, they are there. So those are those type of enemies, and they are very, very dangerous. They stick with you, they don't cut you off, they get updates about your life, and they go to update your real enemies so that your real enemies can use those information to fight you. Giraffes are very dangerous. Run away from them, actually. We know in biology we have a process called adaptation, actually. So adaptation is just the characteristics which makes living organisms to survive, actually. For example, when a giraffe can live in a place where there are long trees and there's nothing to eat, actually, on the ground. Why? Because the adaptation process is their long necks makes them actually manage to survive in that environment. So those are how it is, actually. Giraffes are very dangerous. Run away from them, actually. Number 5, we have the enemies of your progress. So the enemies of your progress are the type of enemies which they don't hate you personally. They like your character, they like everything actually about you, but it's just that they hate your progress. Those are the enemies of your progress. Those are the type of people whom you grow with them from your childhood mostly, or you met at high school, things were very, very well. But all of a sudden, they just started to turn against you the moment you start to prosper. The moment you start to achieve certain things in life, which them they didn't achieve, they start to turn against you. They start to show you some kind of characteristics. Those are the enemies of your progress. They don't dislike you personally, but they hate the fact that you are progressing in life. And those type of enemies, they will use anything within their power to stop that progress because they don't like it, actually. Enemies of progress are very dangerous, run away from them. So the last enemies, we have agents, actually. We know that the word agent, we understand the meaning of it. We used to say agent of the devil, agent of Satan. So agents are the type of enemies which they are not, it's not like they are your enemies. They are working for some imperialists, actually. They are working for some people on high places, actually. So those type of enemies, they are sent by imperialists or people who are your real enemies. Those type of people, they are being used to hate you, actually. And those type of people are very dangerous, actually. Agents are very dangerous. They are being used up to hate you. And those type of people are people who can be easily manipulated. Agent is not like, it's not always the case that agents, they know that they are being used. Sometimes people can be used while they are not aware that they are being used. For example, if your enemy come to somebody and speak bad about you, then all of a sudden the person start to hate the person. Let's say, for example, there are two people, actually. Those two people, actually, there is John and Peter. John is my enemy, but Peter is not my enemy. John comes to Peter and speak bad about me, and Peter start to hate me. So then Peter is an agent into that case. Then John is an enemy. So Peter is an agent which is being used by John to hate me. So those are what I wanted to emphasize, actually. I hope I clarified my point. So that's how it is. So be careful to be used to hate somebody. Don't hate a person, actually, whom haven't done anything to you just because you hear somebody speaking bad about that type of person. Verify things before you believe them. That's what I can say. Don't be an agent. So that's how it is, actually, about that video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please don't forget to share it with other people. Like it, actually, and share it with other people. Shalom.